are now tuning in to the All Things Good podcast.
Welcome, M. How are you today? Or M16? How would you prefer to be called today?
Fonda, you can call me whatever you want. This is you. We good. So it's whatever you want it to be. That's what it is. So it's all right.
Okay. Do a lot of people shorten it to M or?
Most people just call me 16, actually.
16. Okay. Huh. Yeah. Interesting. So why M16? Let's talk about that.
So it's like so many moons ago, I was heavily involved in music, like all the time in the studio, writing songs, hip hop, it was my whole life. And my rap name was Mercury, like, the planet.
Okay.
And I was doing a lot of, I was guest starring on a lot of people's, albums at that point in time. I hadn't put anything on my own out there, but I was doing a lot of verses on other people. So it was like, M dropped 16s, M16. So that's where it came from. That was for me dropping hot 16s on people's, albums or whatever. So that's where that came from.
Interesting. So who came up with the name Mercury? Was that you?
Yeah, that was me. I just needed to, I don't know. What was I doing? I was trying to find like a name that would stick. So I started like looking through the dictionary, and one of the first pages that I popped up on that came up, I was like, I could probably work with that. Let's see what that's about. And it just sort of just fit for the time. And then it just kind of evolved into the name I have now, even though I'm not doing music anymore, but I just kept it.
Okay, awesome. Well, I like it. It's definitely catchy. I definitely appreciate the story behind it. I believe that a lot of people use stage names to kind of project something that is almost like an alter ego type of thing. Would you say that was it, like your alter ego?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like night and day for me. I mean, I can be boisterous. I think 16 is more fearless than I am in my regular life. I'm more chill. I'd rather just, sort of be to myself. But 16, that fool is crazy. He's insane. He'll say anything, and sometimes that's freeing for me. So yeah, I definitely would say that.
So what made you get into the music, and what made you transition out of the music and into the industry that you are now, which is podcasting, broadcasting? Let's talk about that.
I would probably say the business side of music. Like I like the writing and the creation part for me was like, I never felt more at home. Like when I go in the studio, like my friends who recorded with me would tell you, I'm not messing around in there. I'm talking about one take. I'm done. Boom, boom. Wow. I'm like laser focused. And I love that side of it. But as I got deeper into like the business side of it, it kind of took the fun out of it for me, where it wasn't, I still enjoyed recording. I still like being around my friends, making music, making it happen. But the business side, it seemed to bring out sometimes the worst in people. And I got into this. Yeah, I got into music because first off, I love hip hop. It's like here, it's in my soul.
Right.
And I love creating it, and it helped me get some of the best relationships in my life came from it. So for me, it just, that's what made me transition out of it was, just the business end of it. And then getting into podcasting, that was sort of like, I was trying to avoid it because my dad, like, I don't know, whatever, like you're in Florida. So if you think about whatever is like the biggest urban station where you live, like plays all the hip hop and R&B, my dad was in our hometown, he was the morning host on the big urban station where we're from. So he was like a known radio personality. So before I could even put words together, I'm in the studio, I'm seeing him work, I'm recording PSAs. I'm barely into elementary school, and I'm reading live reads as a child. So I was exposed to this all my life. And I was like, I didn't want to immediately follow behind my dad. I think that's what probably pushed me to doing music. I'm like, I want to create my own path to whatever it is I'm going to do. But that's what made me transition out, was just sort of, I guess, whatever probably was my first love in the first place, which was radio, that pulled me back into doing it.
I love that. Wow, that's very interesting. I love that you already had that expertise, that experience in the background when it comes to music, and just being, when it comes to broadcasting in general. I think that's amazing. And our stories are very similar to a certain extent. I mean, I didn't grow up with anyone in the industry, but I personally, I love music. Music has always been like my number one thing. Like it's always been my childhood dream, right? And then I transitioned that. I mean, I was writing songs, I was in showcases, I was doing what I needed to do to try to become, this star in the music industry. But I think a lot of it was it wasn't the business side. I think a lot of it was just really the image that they wanted me to portray, which was the sexual thing and all those things. And at that point in time, my life was transitioning from more of like the drinking and partying to now I have a daughter and now I'm trying to like change my life around. And so here I am podcasting and here you are podcasting. So I think that's very interesting how, the path may have changed, but the goal hasn't, right? So like we're still in the direction that we've always wanted to, but it's just a little fine-tuned, a little different.
I could definitely agree with that. They're still adjacent. They still have a lot of similarities to it. It's still entertainment. So yeah, they're definitely married to each other. You can't have one without the other one, actually. Right,
exactly. So at what point did you say, you know what, I want to just start podcasting? Let's do this.
That was a slow transition because if you're an artist, you know about this from singing. It never leaves you. Like I'll be 60, 70, 80, and the rapper in me, the MC in me, as the folks from New York would say, it's always gonna be there. Right. So for me, it was like I had a friend of mine who was doing a show on Blog Talk Radio, and I happened to be like I was recording at his studio, and he was doing like some drops for his show or whatever. And so I decided to start, listening to what he was doing. I was like, at that point, I was still promoting my music. And one of my co-hosts, Cujo, who's still on the show with me to this day, he's rapping and he's trying to, promote his stuff. And I listened to my friend's show. His name is Doom. And Doom's a cool guy and everything. I like him. He's, one of my favorite people. But I didn't feel like the show that they was doing, like I felt like it was cool. But I was telling Cujo, I was like, man, we could do something like that. We could do it better than them. Not to be shady, but I'm like, like we could probably do something better than this or on par with it at least. So our goal, when we started the show years ago before the Radio Show ATL even existed, it was called the GOAT Radio years ago on Blog Talk Radio. And the premise of it was we were going to do our nonsense, but we also were going to showcase up and coming artists as well, play their music, interview them, talk to them. And even though the concept was kind of short lived, that's what sort of pushed that whole thing where it became, this will be a great way to try to promote our stuff too. I don't know if I want to do that anymore. I want to help other people do that. Like, let's just do our show and let's help other people. So that's how that came about.
Okay. Awesome. All righty. Okay. So this is interesting. It's very interesting because there was a question that I wanted to ask before you got into podcasting. Going back to music, and I'm sorry to be a little everywhere, but we'll get back into podcasting.
No, I'm here to talk about whatever you want to talk about, Jamon. I'm here.
Okay, so M16, did you were you one of those where you freestyled off the top of your head, or you had to write things down?
No, I mean, I wasn't a freestyler. I was somebody who was very deliberate when it came to writing my stuff because I started as a teenager, but I was talking about some stuff that I didn't have. I'm not going to say any business talking about, but why would somebody who is, 16, 17, 18, 19 talking about I was a niche artist, when I'm talking about the plight of Black people and the economy and just things I wanted to see in society that could help people. And, we in that shiny, Puff Daddy era at that point in time. And it was hard to want people to hear stuff like that during that time. But yeah, I don't know. I just was real deliberate with my writing and making sure that whatever I was talking about meant something.
Okay. So now, you as an artist, do you believe that you as an artist kind of developed who you are as a broadcaster and podcaster?
Yeah. A lot of my music sensibilities come out when I'm broadcasting for sure. Because we do tackle systemic racism. Our show is goofy as hell, but when we dive into the issues, we get into them. we get into politics. We get into things that we see on social media that people probably shouldn't be following up behind. So yeah, absolutely. The stuff that I would have been really railing about in my music if I was still writing every day, it definitely comes across in the show for sure. Sometimes I feel like I'm on an island. Like, am I the only voice of reason with the rest of my folks I got here? Like, what are we doing? But that's what makes the dynamic what it is. So yeah, I would say it comes out for sure.
Awesome. So how do you feel it developed you? I mean, other than highlighting topics of the hour, like major political issues or racism, what other ways did you feel it developed you as a podcaster?
Well, with the purpose was when I was an artist, I wish that my show existed when I was out there doing that, because literally we're the friend of the underground artist. If you're somebody that's up and coming, we want to hear from you. We want to know about you and things like that. So I would say that helped develop also, because that became a huge focus. Yes, we're going to talk our nonsense and we're going to play our games and do all that other stuff that we do on the show to make people laugh and make you feel good. But at the core of it all, this show exists because I feel like if you're someone who's an artist, you shouldn't be told no before you get your opportunity. You could at least try and sit at the table first and be told no versus you never even get your shot. So we've given countless people their first interviews, their first radio play, things of that nature. So yes, it definitely helped shape how I go about attacking what we're doing as a group to help these artists, whether you're an author or a rapper, whatever you're doing, to help you with your craft.
I love that. I love that you are giving people the opportunity where others aren't. So that's that's huge, because we need more people like that. And, a lot of people, they tend to overlook because you don't have, like, you're not on the radio station, but we got to start somewhere, right? We have to start somewhere. So I feel like that's an amazing opportunity that you guys are providing for the artists and upcoming writers and poets. Do you do poets too?
Hey, if you got about the arts, we got you. We got you.
So, okay, what about the GOAT radio station? You said that was your first podcast. How was that different from what you're doing now, or is it similar?
They have, okay, so you ever heard about, like, in movies or TV, something called a spiritual successor, where it's a sequel, but they're adjacent, but they're not exactly the same. So I would say that the radio show ATL had a lot of the things that we tried on GOAT Radio that, had we been more tactful, they might have worked the first go around, because they have a lot of similarities. We did have a music playlist then. It was a hip hop show, but GOAT Radio was very disorganized. We did a lot of good things. It was way too over the top, sometimes too explicit, and some of them jokes would not float today whatsoever. So it was a good concept to, I guess, plant the seed of what we could become if we applied ourselves. Because it was myself, Cujo, and the Jerk. Both of them we're all still together to this day as part of the cast. We're all still together. And we just had like I said, it was the seeds that were planted in that show, even though it kind of peaked early and kind of fizzled out at the end. It left enough, out there for us to create what's out there now. I love
that. Okay, awesome. So that kind of gives me an idea of what the GOAT was about. I mean, if you guys are crazy now, I can imagine what that podcast was like.
We would have been canceled within the first 5 episodes with that stuff we was pulling back then. So
awesome. Okay, so what does it take to build and sustain a platform that you have without losing your authenticity?
Man, that's a good question, Javon. Jeez, man, that's real good.
It's a good question, because especially now everyone wants to be like the next person. We see someone becoming successful because of the niche that they're in or the direction they're going in. And then maybe, like, let's say for instance, for me, mine is mental health. So it takes a little longer for people to, gravitate towards that. People like drama, people like, chaos. And what my podcast is doing is talking about the good things, right? So, parts of me would be like, should I gravitate towards that? But I'm like, that's not who I am. I have to remain authentic to who I am. So how would you say, what keeps you aligned in your authenticity?
Probably because if we decided to switch it up and not be us, it would be phony and people would be easily able to see that. And I feel like the reason why we're able to attract the partnerships that we have and the relationships that we've built is because it's 100% us. It's real. It's not. I mean, yeah. I mean, in all walks of business, you have to compromise. You know, you got to fit between a lane. But for the most part, it's 100% genuine in what we're getting. The thought process and the topics that we're discussing, our takes on music or any of the other things that we're talking about is never going to get compromised. Where it's like, yeah, you do have to watch what you're saying. That we don't want to be out here just totally offending people and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, how do I stay true to myself and bringing that out there? I have to. There's no other way. I have to, because people will absolutely see it, especially with the crew that we have. When I start talking about my co-hosts, these are people who you will know from jump, like, okay, that's not really them. That's not truly what they're about. That's kind of phony. People will be able to read that.
Okay. So what about mentally? Have you ever felt like the podcasting industry or even the music industry have affected you mentally, or maybe you use those outlets for your mental health? Because, you know, during that time, a lot of people didn't talk about mental health, especially from our culture and communities. We tend to overlook that. So would you say, looking back and reflecting now, would you say that you went into the music industry because maybe it helped you emotionally, mentally, or was there just none of that going on and you just went into it?
No, it definitely was. It was mental health related because, like, especially coming up when I was a teenager, if we started talking about the music, like, it's better now, but I didn't have like the best relationship with my dad and my relationship, like either one of my parents. I mean, they were okay, but I sort of was like, I had a lot of pent up like frustration and anger, and writing about it made me, because it's the reason why you ain't see me on the news, is because I'm able to, like, you know, vent that. Yeah, I'm able to portray some of these feelings that I'm having and putting it on paper and getting it out and letting it go. So it was absolutely therapeutic. And it continues, you know, doing this show where you see something in the news and you're just like, man, that's unbelievable. And it's like, you know what, we should get on and talk about it. And you get on and you talk about it and you let it go, and then you're good. So it is definitely a form of therapy, and it keeps thoughts out of your, you know, it keeps you out of your own head, where you're able to portray that out to your co-hosts and to people who might be listening or watching.
Right. So good, because music definitely is something that I use as an outlet. I was very angry. I was very emotional. You might not even, like, the person that I am today is so completely different from who I was like years ago. I was angry. No one could talk to me, but it was because I had a lot of rejection, a lot of abandonment. And I used the music to, you know, project those emotions onto the paper as I wrote and as I performed and things like that. So music is definitely so good for mental health. I want our listeners to know that, you know, even if you're not the best singer, you're not the best writer, just listening to songs that relate to you, listening to tracks or whatever records that, you know, relate to you, they will help. And try not to go into those depressing moments. It's good to have sad moments, but it's good to have those moments where you're actually uplifting yourself through music, because that's what I believe. There's so much power in what we say, what we write, what we speak. And so, and same thing for podcasting. Like, I love people. So I feel like if I can't connect with people physically, because I feel like we're in such an age where people are just so digital, like what we're doing now, that when we see each other on the streets, or, you know, everyone is to themselves. I don't know about if that's like that where you are, but where I am in Florida, I feel like everyone is just separated. Like, there's no connection or community, and it takes a long time to build that. I'm from up north, and so up north, I feel like we're a bit more friendly. And they say up north people have attitudes and we're all, you know, but when I come down here, I'm like, Florida really is an isolated, like, individualized state, opposed to up north where there's community, we're close knit, we're building, you know, we're talking, we know each other. And so podcasting for me has become like an outlet. I get to share things, I get to learn things, and I get to connect with people. So I do see how podcasting can be beneficial for mental health.
For sure.
Okay, so how do you balance structure, humor, and cultural commentary on air? Because you do a little bit of it all. I love that. And I have checked out your podcast and it is very entertaining. So how do you balance everything?
That came with time and other experience. Cause I told you, Go Radio was sort of all over the place. So it was like, if we're gonna come back now, we're not the most. I don't want to sit here and say that we're the most organized show on the planet because we're not. Because half the time when we turn the mics on, we don't necessarily know where we have an idea where we want to get to, but we don't know where we're going to that. We'll figure it out as we go along. We're not structured in that manner. But the balance just comes from, I think a lot of it has to do with experience of knowing what didn't work the first time and how we painted ourselves in a corner with the first show. And I don't want to take shots at Go Radio because it was important. And if we didn't do it, this show wouldn't exist today as it is. But I think the balance comes from knowing when to tackle a subject and then knowing the right time to let it go. Like, all right, we've been on this for a second. We need to switch up gears here and go to something else so we can keep it fresh because we made our points 10 minutes ago. We keep doing it. We're going to run it into the ground. So I think we've learned how to get out right at the right time when we're talking about something to pivot to something else. Or if we're on this super heavy topic, we're not going to keep heavy. We're about to get into some nonsense to lighten it up, or vice versa. We were real goofy over here, but now we got to get to this serious thing. But we're going to tie that humor somewhere in there. Like something's going on that's crazy. We're going to find something crazy to say in there to kind of lighten that part of it up. So that it's knowing the balance of getting out at the right time and then segueing into something to switch it up.
I love that. And you know what? Honestly, in my podcasting journey, I came across one person that stated, because my podcast is so geared towards serious topics, like I need to put in segments that break it down where it kind of lightens the mood a bit. And coming on your podcast, the segments that you have are so freaking funny. They're so like amazing. I love it. And I learned some things from your podcast. So thank you first and foremost for having me on your podcast and showing me ways that I can implement those segments. And speaking about segments, the Don't At Me segment. Let's talk about this segment because this segment is so freaking funny and just so, it's real, it's bold, it's unapologetic. So let's talk about that segment and how you begin to implement that into your podcast and why you feel it's important. Why do you feel it's important to be so bold and unapologetic when it comes to that segment?
Well, you know what? It's a way because we only do that on the interviews, and it's a way to like, you know, get the guest even more comfortable. Like we've talked to you. I mean, Giovanna, you've been a guest, so we've talked to you. We've had our conversation about what you do, all the ins and outs of what your, I guess, your talent is, how you got there and all that stuff. So once we've had that structure and you kind of have knowing that we've gotten to know each other a little bit, that's when I come through with the Don't At Me questions to just see how you react to decision making, and you don't know what's coming to you and just see how you react. And it kind of throws people off balance sometimes. And that's the genuine them. So we're getting to really see them like kind of be like, what are y'all doing to me right now? Like, what is this? So I think that's important because it really shows that side of somebody where they've opened up about it. Makes you want to learn more about them. Like, all right, what else they got going on in there? Because I mean, it's just insane stuff. Like, just like one of the questions is like, one of the ones we used before, like when you eating fries, do you want ketchup on the fries or ketchup on the side? It's like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, it just sparks up debate and humor and lightens you up. So that's just to make you feel even more comfortable.
I love that. I think it's such an amazing segment. And I think anyone who joins your podcast or is a guest on your podcast will love that particular segment because it really does cause you to think, and it calls you to, okay, now we're not speaking on me. We're talking about the sides of me that I might not particularly agree with or might not be comfortable sharing with because of what people might think or say. Yeah. And so the aspect of Don't At Me, I think is very, very, it's dope. I love it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Javon. I really do, you know, and I put it at the end because it's like you feel more comfortable talking about that because we've opened up and gotten to know each other. It's like, all right, I feel comfortable talking about that stuff. And we had fun with you on it. I mean, we had we laughed a whole lot with that, just learning stuff about you and, you know, habits and things of that nature. So it was great.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I felt like I needed to get more. I felt, you know how you go back to the conversation, you're like, I should have said this. I should have said that. You start thinking. It's just like, man, I had so many don't at me's. And now that I'm not on air, it's just like, dang it. Next time,
Yeah.
next time.
Next time. Next time. That won't be your last time. Next time.
So your podcast talks a lot about culture and community, and they approach conversations of that sort. What happens when there's, because I know you guys like to kind of, I'm not going to say start things, right? But almost it's just like you like the aspect of having different opinions and almost creating an atmosphere where people can speak freely, right? Have you ever had a situation on your podcast where there was just like a huge controversy and things could not get settled, and you just kept it moving? How do you approach situations like that?
So what's weird is that so there's always this hint of like tension and self-deprecation that's happening. It's
Right.
always around. But we've never had one of these hard up disagreements where people are straight up beefing. Yeah, in the moment we might just be disagreeing with each other, but then in the end somebody's gonna say something dumb to lighten it up. So we never had one of those tense moments where people are like at each other. And I think that's the environment that we breed, that no matter whether we disagree with your opinion or don't agree with it, you're going to be able to speak your piece, and we'll find a way to disagree with you in a funny, tactful way where there won't be any beef. It'll be folks kind of laughing at each other like, oh, I get it all the time. Like, I mean, folks come at me about certain opinions that I have on certain stuff, and it's always in this tongue-in-cheek kind of like, it's like likened to the Boondocks, where the show leans into the absurd. And that's the reason why there's never any beef, because we're literally just being friends, just poking at each other. And you know how that works, just sort of, oh, I can't believe you said that, that type thing. So we've avoided having stuff like that just based on the atmosphere that the show breeds, which is you're free to talk about it. We might get after you on it, but it'll never be serious to that point. Never.
Okay. So do you particularly handpick the people that are going to be in there, or do you just put in random people?
Well, when we have our cast, it would just be us, but we have this, and you were a part of it, Giovanna. It's called Bring a Friend Night, where if the cast isn't available, we will go to our friends who have been, former guests, who become friends of the show, and they would come back and be cast members for the night. So it just depends on what we might be talking about. Like I say, wow, Giovanna will be good on this subject. Let me reach out to her and see if she want to come talk about it. So yeah, I guess it just depends on, what we might be talking about and who might be a good fit for that one. But it's not really like, I don't have like this big formula of I got to sit down and try to map it out. No, it's just whatever feels right, whatever feels like it might be. Like, this might fit. Let's try it. Let's see if it works. And 9 times out of 10, it works.
Right. Awesome. Okay, so now you have 2 parts of your podcast, the Aftermath and then the Radio Show ATL, right, where you do interviews. Or is it vice versa? Am I getting it wrong?
It's vice versa. Aftermath is the interview segment.
Okay. And the Radio Show ATL is the one where you come and you bring on upcoming artists, right?
Yeah, the upcoming artists would come on the Aftermath too. So anybody who's like somebody who's being interviewed or spotlighted would go on the Aftermath segment.
Okay.
Then,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So I love the fact that you're doing that. What does supporting independent artists look like in real, tangible ways, not just exposure? How can we begin as podcasters or as just anyone begin to support artists that are upcoming?
Reach out to them. Like if you see something that you think might be good, send them a DM. That's what I do. Some of it, we've been fortunate enough to where the show has gotten, I guess, a larger enough following where PR groups are starting to trust us. They do trust us with their artists. So we get funneled music and guests from these groups. So that part, that's cool. But I don't just rely on that because we didn't always have that. So for me, it was just, I'm DMing them. Hey, or if they have a website, I'm sending them a message. Hey, I saw your stuff on such and such, or I saw this. Do you mind? Usually it's like, do you mind if we like play your song? And if you're an artist that's anything about your craft, you're not going to say no. And I don't get no's because it's
Right.
like, hey, we're offering you radio play. Yeah, you want to do it. So yeah, it's I would say to somebody who want to do it, send a DM. I mean, the only thing they could say is no. But why in the world, if you're offering them a platform, with anybody in their right mind who's trying to push their craft tell you no? So send the DM, send the email. If they answer you, fine. It's 10 other people that'll answer you if this one person don't. Send the message. Don't ever not send the message.
Awesome. So just little ways of supporting. Now,
Yep.
you're an artist, and maybe you didn't necessarily pursue the career, but do you feel because you grew up knowing what it looks like to become an artist and get exposure and get known, right? Do you feel like you have a responsibility to help other artists get what they need during this time, meaning exposure, visibility, things like that?
1,000%. It's 1,000%. I said earlier, and I said it before even on the show, is that I wish that the Radio Show ATL existed during the time when I was really grinding, because I needed a show like that. And to be able to provide that to folks, where I get messages from artists saying, man, after I came on your show or after you played my song, my streams went up. Well, good. That was the point. That's the exact point. So absolutely. I just had somebody reach out to me the other day. He was like, man, y'all changed my whole algorithm. Well, cool. That was the point.
That's awesome. I love that. All right, Emma, this has been good. Now we're going to go into soul snacks. This is something I just started. Thank you.
All right.
Your inspiration. You were the inspiration of this.
I appreciate that. All
right. Okay, so you have to think of the first answer that comes to you, okay? Don't think too hard.
Okay.
What song instantly takes you back to your teenage artist days?
Ooh, man, that's just one song that takes me back there. Man, probably, you know what, Tupac, So Many Tears. When I hear that, it takes me right back to young me, about 15 or 16, sitting in my room. I got my notebook. I had notebooks all over the place. So yeah, that song definitely always when I hear it, it always takes me back to the mid 90s of just a magical time for me. So yeah, that song. Yeah.
Awesome. For me, I would say, hold on one second. Sorry, I got a phone call and I pressed the wrong button.
Oh, that's all good.
I'll edit that. For me, I would say is Maya and Jay-Z. Do you know the song Best of Me?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
That one was it. Like, I don't know why, because I used to cut school a lot back in the day.
I'm guilty too.
But that song always brings me back. Like, wow. Like, it's just, to me, I think even to this day, I still think it's an amazing song. Like, it really gets me dancing. So.
No, that's nice. You just cutting school out there, Javonna? Because I was too. Ain't no cutting class. If you're going to cut it, you need to miss the whole day. Cutting class get you caught. Kids, if y'all watching this, hey, don't cut class or school. But I'm saying if you're going to do it, do the whole day. Don't do a class. Just do the whole day.
Yeah, we got caught a couple of times. There was one time, we're just going to keep that story too. We'll keep it.
All right, we'll talk about it off here.
Okay, so studio late night or radio booth early morning?
Oh, it's studio late night for sure. Absolutely.
Why?
I mean, that's the best environment to do it. I did most of my writing at nighttime, and my best friend was someone who did a lot of tracks for me, and we're both the same when it comes to our sleeping habits, where we don't hardly sleep. So it wasn't nothing for us to be in the studio where it's 1, 2, 3 in the morning and we're just at it. Okay. Like, you tired? Nope. You tired? Nope. Let's keep going.
That's just like the life of the creative, I believe. Because there's moments where I'm like up late night and because I paint, I do, you already know all the things I do, but I'll have like visions of things that I want to paint and I'll write them down. I haven't painted any of them yet, but I still have them on my list. And there'll be days that I'm just getting all these downloads about, a poem I can create, or maybe a painting that I can start to begin, or a topic. There's so many things. So I can resonate with that, because the late night hours, are really the hours where I'm just like, my mind and my creativity is really going. Like the moment that I want to sleep, it's just like, okay, I can't sleep today. So I can
like
definitely resonate with that. So, okay, give me one Atlanta spot that feels like home.
One Atlanta spot that feels like home. Well, it's one place out here that's real nice that it was really just built up within the last like 7 or 8 years. So they got this spot near the Atlanta Braves baseball stadium. It's called the Battery. The Battery is like, you could go there even when baseball games aren't going on, because there's so many things to do there. Because you can go there and you can eat there, shop. It's a movie theater near there. It's like a place where you could really spend your whole day. And then if there's a baseball game, like if you're going to the baseball game, so you can go to the game. Then when you get done, you can go to one of the many restaurants that's over there. The area there's a mall near there. It's just a lot to do right there within that area. So if you've never been to Atlanta, visit the Battery. You would love it over there.
Okay, awesome. Sounds interesting. I actually been to Atlanta once. And yeah, it's not for me.
You didn't? Oh, you didn't enjoy it? You didn't? You was like,
honestly, it felt like home. It felt like Jersey. It felt like when I went there, I was expecting something grand, and it could have been the location that I was in, but we were at the heart of Atlanta, and there was a lot going on, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm like, it just wasn't it for me. But kudos to those who are ATL. Don't at me. Don't at me. Don't at me, Em, because I already see you coming for me.
Well, I will say this. I'll be 100% transparent with this, is that with Atlanta, I feel like if you don't live here, people just like saying that they're here, because there are only certain things that you can do. Like, you can only go visit MLK's gravesite like once. That's not something you're going to do every weekend. Or the World of Coke, you're only going to like do that once. Or if you've been to Six Flags once or twice, it's like, all right, I've been there. I did that. So I think people a lot of times just like saying that they're here because it just sounds cool. Like, oh, I was in Atlanta for the weekend. It's like, what did you do? And it's like, I don't know, man. I guess I went to brunch or something. I sat in traffic, So sometimes it sounds a lot better to say I'm here versus what you have going on. That being said, Giovanni, you need to come back again and try it again. Just saying.
I'll think about that.
We'll talk about it.
I'll come with a new perspective. I'll come with, you know what? I'll come with a new perspective, with a new lens, and with no judgments. No judgments.
There you go. You're going to sit in traffic, though.
I'm used to traffic. That's not a problem for me. Okay, so, all right. So now we're going to go into the segment of piece of the puzzle. If you've seen any of my podcasts or any reels that I've created, I believe that everyone has a piece of the puzzle, whether it's, religion, whether it's your story, whatever it is. I just feel like I welcome everyone onto the platform because their story can help someone else, right? What is one piece of the puzzle people often overlook when trying to build something independently, but that you've learned is essential?
Man, that's a good question, Giovanna. Not quitting. A lot of people, I would say, perseverance. You got to stick in there. So if you decided that's what you're going to do and it's starting off slowly or it's not getting to that point, you gotta keep going. You have to. You got to see it through. Just because it's not fitting right then, it just means that you need to keep pushing. I know it sounds cliche, like, oh, just keep pushing, but literally you could cut the legs out from under you before you get started if you stop too soon. So I would say if you're doing something, if you're a rapper and it's not coming together for you with your lyrics and stuff like that, keep writing. Write every day. I used to write every day. Write every day. So you got to hang in there and do the work. So perseverance is what I would say. Do not give up. Be told no. Don't tell yourself no.
I love that because we all have those moments, right? And honestly, me as a podcaster, I've recently had that moment where I was just like, I think I'm done doing this, because for me, I expect things to happen within a specific time frame. We have that control, that ego where it needs to happen within a certain time. But I think it's helpful to look back and look at the journey, the things that you've accomplished, even if it wasn't a major accomplishment. Those little wins, right? Those little wins that help us to continue to persevere. It's helpful. I think that it's a good thing to look back and say, okay, I could have just released one episode, but I released 3 episodes or 4 episodes, or I could have just released one song, but I released 2, 3 songs, and I've connected with this producer, I've connected with, this filmmaker, whatever the case might be. Look at those little wins so that it can continue to create that perseverance within you, because I think a lot of times we try looking for it and we overlook the little wins that we've had.
Yeah, no, you're right, Javon. And matter of fact, I mean, I'm not trying to take up all your time and everything, but you reminded me of something that that speaks to that. If I could tell you real fast, that the aftermath segment was about to be over in 2022. Like it was on its way out. Like I felt like we had hit a wall with it, and I had never talked about this on the air. So you getting this because we never talked about it, but it was like, like I said, we're not going to do this again until we feel this spark. And I ended up seeing artist. It was another podcaster. She sparked something in me. We ended up having an interview, and it was cool. And then not too long after that, a artist representative reached out for us to do a show with them. It was an artist she was out of Russia. And myself and my homegirl, Carol J, shout out to Carol J, we did the episode with her, and it was a fun little interview. We did have a nice little chat. And that episode ended up, I didn't even know this could happen. The individual episode ended up charting on Apple in the music interviews category. Like it got to like number 20 in like Luxembourg or something. Wow. And then, cause like, I'm like, where are these downloads coming from? And it just went. And then from that, even though it was about to be over, the people who represent her was like, hey, we love what you're doing. We got other artists in music. Can we funnel you more people? So that one interview, it like opened up like a door of like a partnership that we still have to this day of musicians and all this other stuff that happened from that. So it's all about it's knowing about just sticking in there just that little bit longer.
Right. That's so good. Thank you for sharing that, because what comes to me is that moment where you're about to give up and just say like it's done, an opportunity comes about. And so that's why it's so important for us to continue to persevere. So thank you for sharing that, because that is definitely going to be helpful for our listeners who may be like in the industry, whether acting, modeling, or just mental health or whatever they have going on, that moment where you feel like you're about to give up, that could be the very, very moment. So thank you so much for sharing that. That was very beneficial for our listeners.
For sure. Thank you.
Well, our time has come to say goodbye. How can our listeners find you, connect with you, be a guest on your podcast? Give us the 411.
All right. Well, you got a few ways that, you can get in touch with us at the Radio Show ATL. One of the quickest ways is follow us on Instagram at It's the Radio Show. Just holler at us through DM. You can send us an email to radioshowinbox@gmail.com. Look, we're so official, at least in my view. You could text or call us if you want to. 678-800-1677. I would say send a text. You could text. You probably get to us faster that way. But you're trying to get some airplay, you want us to hear your song or something like that, send that text, send that email. We'll get at you. It might be a little delayed, depending on what time of day it is, but we will definitely get back to you.
Awesome. I love that. And I'll be sure to put all that information into the description of this episode. You have any last words for us, Em?
Well, I'm appreciative to you, Javon. I love, the partnership that we've, created. We've had, spent some time creating content together and just sort of speaking offline too about things we want to do. So I'm just happy to consider you part of what we consider our universe, our family, and everything like that. So I'm real grateful for the time and the relationship that we're helping build up. So thank you so much for having me on here today. I definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, Em. Thank you for having me. And we will definitely be connecting and collaborating more. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this interview and this episode with Em. He's provided such helpful information. If you are an artist connect with the Radio Show ATL. Let's get your music out there. Let's get it heard, because who knows? The sky is the limit. I believe there is no limit. The sky, I mean, the universe. I mean, that's a whole nother topic. But just submit your music, submit your work, and let's get yourself heard, because every voice has a part to play in this world.
Yes.
So, thank you, Em. I will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye.